and every Tuesday morning from the hours of 8 until 11. We were very late this morning, and that's because of this storm. As the text message reads, it's Storm Francis.
That's it.
So Storm Francis has caused some mayhem and havoc, and we couldn't find the parking. And it was tearing down the rain. Is it still raining out there?
No, it's not too bad
It's not too bad no more, but it was at the time early this morning, between 8 and 9, it was tearing down, and so we couldn't really find adequate parking. It was a nightmare. Like all of the parking spaces had gone, so we struggled to get into the studio on time. And as for those that were listening, I was on my own for the better part of 35 minutes because the producer couldn't find parking. Um, so thank you for the listening ears, and thank you for the patience for everyone still out there listening. Let me go through some text messages. Text message reads, "Good morning. I totally agree. I'm listening." And that's based on the summaries that I've made. I'll make the summary again for those who are just tuning in. In my opinion, these officers should have shot him in the legs for him to drop. They are supposed to be trained. I do feel as though they are trying to incite more violence. Not sure what their agenda is. So for those who are just tuning in, we're talking quite about several different topic areas, but that message is in relation to the video that came out on Sunday, I believe, of an incident in Kenosha, United States, where a young black man was shot 7 times in the back by a police officer. A young unarmed black man was shot 7 times in the back by police officers simply because he wasn't following instructions. They shot him 7 times, which is more than excessive force. If you see the video, if you haven't seen the video, it's all over social media now. It's in the national news, and you can see it for yourself. That young man is now in critical condition in hospital. We're not sure if he will make it, but we hope he does. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people feel that because of this election coming up, and because a lot of people are trying to push Donald Trump out of power, and it's amazing how the media has twisted things. The media has made white conservatives feel that they're untouchable, not the president, the media. And the media has made the liberals feel that they can say and sell us anything with a lot of rhetoric. And this is why it becomes such a difficult balance because, like I said, whether you're conservative or liberal, left wing or right wing, it's a horseshoe. They come back around and they meet at the same point. So, as far as I'm concerned, they're one and the same. So, it's about policies. Who's going to implement and put in the best policies, not who's going to give you the best rhetoric. Understand that? So black Americans should be asking for policies. But so much people are just telling them rhetoric, it's unbelievable.
not.
Hmm?
Not.
So much people, are selling them rhetoric, it's unbelievable. Is it possible they would like to bring in martial law, but before doing so, they need an excuse? I do feel as though they are deliberately targeting black people for this, as they are aware they will not stand for this type of brutality. You know, um, I know that the state troopers have been brought in, so martial law is not far fetched, not at all. Danger when others write our history.
Mm.
And this is going back to the point I made earlier in regards to, and I do agree 100% with the text. This goes back to the point I made earlier when we talk about, um, we started with the issue of colorism and the constant ongoing topic and debate. And I highlighted that the Western media is pushing a certain narrative that that's going to take, that they're pushing onto the youngsters now to lead on for the next 10, 20 years. That's going to become the mindset. You can see when they start a programming plan, because what they're now pushing is unbelievable. They're trying to push that blackness is linked, or should be linked, to struggle, strife, poverty, like negative connotations, anything that is negative in terms of hard living, that is what denotes and describes being an African American or blackness. And that's absolutely ridiculous, you know. And that narrative, I want, I'm going to wait until next week. I'm going to explain that little colorism thing a bit more. I'm going to go into it in greater depth. But
Colorism.
You missed the first part of the show where I was explaining how it's linked. So and I understand why the producer, you might be saying colorism because you're just tuning in, but if you listen to the first part of the show, you'll get a greater summary. It's the first part of the show is available on the YouTube already. It's already uploaded. You can watch that first part of the show, the doctor's surgery from 9. It's for an hour. You can listen to the summary. So basically, it's a narrative. Okay, how can I recap it then? Let me recap it as quick as I can. It's a narrative that explains that, and if I use all the examples again, I was explaining that there was a mixed singer by the name of Doja Cat that's pushed out a lot of.
You spoke about that.
A lot of racist remarks, and I did tell him that this is your forte. So I didn't mean to step on your toe. You weren't here, and you can listen and you will hear. I'll say this is the producer's forte. You know what I'm saying? And I explained that she made a lot of racist and disparaging remarks in the past because of her inbred family attitude towards her dad. So she hates black men, and she's not made it a secret in her disparaging comments towards black men, and the fact that she says she only dates white men, and the reasons for that. Now, the rapper Nas has commented on it in a brief but very poetic way in a song, and it's caused a lot of ripples or trending on social media, if that's the right term. Go ahead.
Can I just quickly say this? I feel like the message was probably debatable, but it was definitely the wrong messenger, because I just feel like with Nas's history, I'm not even going to go there. We're not going to go there. With Nas's history, I just feel like he came against a mixed woman and then wants to be pro-black when you didn't even take into consideration how she was brought up. So how can Doja Cat be pro-black when she didn't have anyone in her family that was black that was bringing her up?
You see, you asked the question now to dissect that aspect of it, but I wasn't going into the depth and the crux of it because the luxury of time wasn't available this week. And it's something that needs to be dissected and explained properly. It needs the time because it's not something that can be rushed.
Also, last thing, I just feel like, why didn't you come for why is it always an attack on black women, or so-called black women? He didn't come for anyone else or males in the industry that were exhibiting behaviors that are not pro-black. He came for a woman that is mixed and then didn't even take into consideration how she was brought up. I just feel it was rude.
No, I agree with Nas. But irrespective of whether Nas is in a position to say the truth is the truth, and they say only a fool ducks when the truth is thrown at them. Now, what I'm saying is, I said it.
That's rude as.
No, I'm not saying it to you. I'm just saying only a fool ducks when the truth is thrown at them. It's the same. What I'm saying is there is an agenda taking place right now. And I'm going to give people a simple synopsis. There's an agenda taking place right now. We know that when we look at what's taking place in society, and you're the one that brought my attention to this issue and to make me start researching. So you cannot blame me for what I've found in my research and from my knowledge base that I had from before. When we look at the push now in the media, the representatives of black or mixed people. So you watch a movie, a black person, and it's not new. It's sold to you as such. You know what I'm saying? And I haven't got a problem with someone of mixed heritage representing
mixed heritage.
I haven't got a problem with someone of mixed heritage representing a black
Okay.
scenario.
Yes.
What I have a problem of is when it becomes their experience that is seen as the experience,
Can I? Okay, go on.
because it's not quite the same.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to hit to the punchline. It's not quite the same
Mm-hmm.
where you can have someone that can speak
Mm-hmm.
and highlight an issue,
Mm-hmm.
but when it becomes only that set of people that speak and become the protagonist for, it becomes worrisome because you're looking at what's taking place in the national and international media and press.
Mm-hmm.
For example, there was a recent video by Trevor Noah,
Mm-hmm.
and in that video by Trevor Noah presented an argument to say the conservative views towards Kamala Harris were anti politically correct in these ways.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you look at the ways that he's presented it,
Mm-hmm.
he's presented it in such a way that is as if he's trying to get people to vote for the Democratic Party as opposed to present an issue
Mm-hmm.
that's plaguing the people and why the certain nuances in it. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, Trevor Noah was a pawn. Some truths were said, but there were some things that were said that did not reflect true understanding of the cause. And I feel that he was lacking in certain awareness,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was intentional or whether he just didn't have the experience. And for me, when when you start to look at what was being said by Trevor, right, it just felt like it was a watered down, bend over type attitude,
Mm-hmm.
and it was not correct. So he can't represent, and that to have Trevor Noah being the representative speaking up for us, it's like the cause is lost already because you're presenting someone that's going to be compromised in no other sense of the word. His views are compromised, and because his views are compromised, he's trying to find a balance to things where there's no balance to it. He's just saying it as it is. You know what I'm saying? You cannot.
Sorry, I don't know.
You can. I don't know who's touching the mic. Were we touching the mic? Were
Yeah,
you
I was
touching the
kind of
mic?
touching it a little bit because
Okay.
it was.
Yeah. So we apologize. Yeah. The point is that, sorry, I just lost my train of thought with the mic issue. But the point is that you cannot take something, water it down, and then water it down in its views and philosophy, and then present it to the mass as this is how it should be, because it's too watered down. Us, those who are in that blacker for position. When I say that blacker position, it's all right for people that are in that more symbiotic situation where they can pick
No,
the.
you have to state what it is.
Okay, let me state what it
You
is.
have to state what it is.
So, for example, when you start to say that in historically things were looked at as black and white,
Mm-hmm.
and then a lot of people start to argue against that to say that we have to look at the gray areas, the nuances missed, that
Can
are
I
missed
just
out.
can I just quickly jump in? I
Mhm.
don't think it ever was seen in a case as just being black or white, because even if you look at history, the lighter skinned people were always lauded over darker skinned people. So it's never
No,
been a case. It's never been a case.
it was viewed as it's throughout history. It was black and white, in the sense that there was a saying. Even Trevor Noah highlighted it that up to 10 generations or some foolishness like that, or whatever the case may be, that one drop of black blood makes you black and so forth, right? And the example that he gave, which I agreed with, was that if if people are treated when they do great things that are in a mixed situation positively,
Mm-hmm.
by the conservative media because they have white in them. And then when they do anything negative, that's when the black side of them gets the brunt of it. Oh, they're black. This
But
is
then,
happening because
therefore,
they're black.
but then you've just acknowledged that the situation was mixed. So therefore, it's never been seen as a black or white.
I would like to finish, please. So all I'm saying is they they turn around and said they were black. So the punchline there is what I'm explaining is that when a person of mixed heritage has that in society, their societal outlook on life becomes skewed because they have a perspective on things that makes it easier for doors to be open in modern day society, and they don't realize because they still see themselves as also representing the black side. But the black side doesn't have that nuance of clarity. They don't have that ready access. It's for them, the thing that opens the door for most black people is confidence and overachieving resilience and goal. You know what I'm saying? When I say overachieving, I mean overarching resilience and goal, strength of character. That's what opens doors for them. Pure and simple. Whereas with others, it does, I'm not saying it doesn't, that's not the case with other people, black, mixed, white, Asian, or whatever the case may be. I'm just saying things are a little bit easier in a certain nuanced way that then denies that full understanding of someone that hasn't got that little bit of ease of access. So when you're presenting an argument, it detracts from that because you are compromised, whether positive in your case, negative in the case that your argument is then skewed. It's like me, if I, as a black man, for example, lack of a better way of putting it, was to talk on black affairs solely without a balanced perspective of a black woman, then it would always be biased and chauvinistic at some point. So to have a balanced view of black affairs, there always has to be the female opinion co-present.
Okay. Right. I don't know how to word, and I think this might come off as, sorry, I think this might come off as facetious, but this is how I'm going to say it. I feel like when you label mixed heritage people as being black, then you're going to get that outcome, because now you've put upon that child that they are no different from a child that has two black parents. And I feel like as well, when you how can I word this? I feel like when you say to someone who's mixed, who has one parent that is white and one parent's black, then you're giving away power to your heritage to someone else, because now you're saying that the mixed race child now is only become one entity. So now for you're saying that the other parent has produced a black child, so therefore now they are entitled into your black space now because you produced a black child.
Now this is the point I'm making. I had this conversation, I'm not sure if it was with yourself, I had this conversation yesterday, and I said I can't remember who I was speaking to, I said, people, I've seen arguments with two people and debates between two people that led to arguments that led to fisticuffs, and I sat there watching both parties saying the same thing but in different ways. And the lack of consensus on understanding of semantics caused that argument, caused that disagreement, and caused that fisticuffs to take place. What you're saying there is the same thing that I'm saying. The key, what the difference is between what you're saying and what I'm saying is that you're going intrinsically into the nitty-gritty of it, but I'm staying on the globalistic perspective of it simply because of lack of time, and I'm highlighting the ramifications of it You're looking at the specificity. I'm looking at the global impact. And with the specificity,
When you keep stopping me like that, I forget my point.
yeah, but
So
I
then
need to
you've
finish
gone
my
off on
point.
you've gone on a tangent, and then
Yeah.
I forgot my point.
I still need to finish my point. The specificity, you get me, bully.
Gosh, you're bullying.
The specificity, the specificity. See, I love my point now as well. You get
Good.
me? All right. Anyway, I'm gonna remember, all right? What? Right. The specificity of what I was saying, right, is see. Go on, you talk now, because I can't remember what I was
You got a
gonna
text
say.
message,
See,
have you not?
now you want me to go text message, right? Tell me to all right. Text message read. I'm gonna come back to it. Yeah, that's what I was saying. The global point. You have the global and the specificity. The specificity of what you're saying is you're looking at the nature of what causes people to say that in that.
Mhm,
For me, I know why people are saying it.
mhm,
And I know what the global agenda is for it.
mhm,
Because from my research, what I've the conclusion that I've began to draw
mhm,
from the observed information and facts out there,
mhm,
it shows an agenda
mhm,
to create
mhm,
and listen to me saying this very carefully,
mhm,
and I'm not going to take up these words
mhm,
to make mixed people not to try to denounce that mixed people ain't black
mhm.
is the worst thing that we as black people could ever do
Why is that?
because we have to ensure that mixed people understand that they are.
But no,
Hold
I
on,
don't
hold
agree
on,
with
hold
that.
on. Let me finish. You might not agree.
Ooh.
We have to make mixed people understand that they are, and we have to make mixed people understand the full nature and the full plight of the struggles that we face. The issues that is out there predominantly. And that's where the problem comes in, where there's a lot of mixed people that don't have that grounding and understanding from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Call you live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, I just want to ask, do you know any mixed race people?
Quite a lot.
Well, I know loads of mixed race people, yeah, and most of them, the majority of them don't class themselves as black.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
They don't class themselves as black, they class themselves as mixed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got a friend who's mixed, and I've known him since my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And he's never classed, and he classed himself as mixed. He doesn't class himself as black.
Mm-hmm.
And he finds it insulting to be classed as just black. And
Mm-hmm.
he classed himself as mixed. So, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about when you're saying that we need to make them know they're black. They don't believe they're black. They don't see themselves as black. And this is where, well, this is a problem from years and years ago with the divide and rule thing. There's always a buffer. And when you look at the colours in South Africa, that's the buffer against the whites. The whites have to have a buffer. And that's what happens. So they're not black, my friend.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question, right? And I don't normally tend to disagree with my callers, but I'm going to disagree with you today. Let me ask you a question. Can genetics be black or white? Is there such a thing as genetics being black or white?
Well, I don't know exactly what you mean by genetics being black or white. I know that there's a thing called melanin, which we have and they don't have, and this is what.
Who doesn't have melanin? Black folks or white folks?
White folks.
Do mixed folks have melanin?
Yeah, but obviously they don't have. Mixed race people don't class themselves as black, regardless how you want to frame it.
No, but words, as if the saying says, words are wind is one thing. But when we talk about genetics, when I say can genetics be black and can genetics be white, genetics is not based on black and white. Genetics is based on dominant and recessive. Can we agree on that so far?
No,
Right. So genetics can be based on dominance and recessive, right? An African person could look at a full African in terms of never partaking in any mixing, which is rare to find one, can then look at someone from the Caribbean, like myself, both black parents and so forth, and say, you're not quite black, are you? Because there's Caribbean people, there's black Caribbean people that are adamant that they're not black and they're not African.
Yeah, well, that's foolishness, isn't it? Because obviously,
Okay, so why is it?
No, that's
Hold on,
unfair.
why
No,
is it?
that's the unfair
Why is it
comparison.
foolish?
That's unfair comparison.
If you've got a man, yeah, if you've got a man, and a man says that he's gay, you can't tell him he's not gay. He said he's gay.
No, hold on.
If a man says I'm not black, you can't tell him he's
Hold
black.
on, hold on.
He's not black.
Sexuality has nothing to do with this, because sexuality is a different thing completely.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that you're putting a label on someone and they're saying that, no, that's not me.
No, but the point I'm making is if a Jamaican black person turn around and say they're not African and they're not black because them family come from Scotland and Retete and this and that, right? Which I've heard growing up many a time.
Can I?
No, but you cannot. But how? Why is it okay for? Hold up.
Yeah.
Why is it okay for them
Mm-hmm.
to not say that, but yet it's okay for someone of a similar hue and complexion and sometimes hair texture
No,
that says the same thing? Why is
No.
that a problem?
no. Can I just?
Why is that?
You can identify as whatever you feel like identifying as. So they identify as themselves as being mixed.
You
No,
see,
can I quickly just say something?
hold on. Let the producer.
They're not mixed people are not saying something that they are not. They are both white and they are both black. Now, if a black person comes and says that they are not black, that's a whole different issue. That's what I'm trying to say.
What's the difference? What makes a black person? What makes a black person
The fact that
able
you have
not to say that they're not black if they're saying their family tree, their family lineage
that
is
is
this
a
way?
different that is a different issue. Then what I'm trying to say is that a mixed person has not stated what they are not. They are both. So if a mixed person says they are mixed, they are mixed. So for you to say that they are black
Listen,
is rude.
what I'm saying, right? What I'm saying.
Quickly before I go.
All right.
Listen, when I was younger, I used to believe mixed race people were black. I didn't think of them as being, okay, I knew they had white parents, but their features, and like you said, their skin color, complexion, I assumed I saw them as black. But once I got older and started speaking to them, and I was quite shocked to find out a lot of them don't see themselves as black. And if you notice, mixed race generally hang around with mixed race people. I don't know if you've noticed that before.
Like I said, the biggest problem that we have, if that is the case, right, is
Don't get me wrong, I understand with the genetics, and I understand that, yeah, that obviously if you're talking basically the one drop rule, basically if you've got a drop of black blood, you're black.
I'm not essentially using the one drop rule, but yes, similar to that. I'm not going far from that. But what I'm saying is that when we look at things genetically, genes aren't black and white. Genes are based on certain principles. And if we were in Nazi Germany and we were dealing with the pure Aryan race and Aryan philosophy, every mixed race person wouldn't have a choice to be saying whether they're black or not, or mixed or what. They would be placed in that category of what they were seen eugenetically as. And what I'm
Fortunately, we're not in 1945 when.
No, it doesn't mean the science is not what it is. Science might have been kind of wrong to kind of go down that road, but it doesn't mean the science is wrong in the sense of the fact of what the genes expressions are.
But are you saying that you can put a mixed person in the same plane as someone that is black or I was going to say African, full African, and never mixed.
What I'm explaining is that it's our responsibility and our duty to teach our children, and the mixed race children that claim that they're not black, are the ones that they never got taught or they don't have the grounding on the understanding of, or the closeness with the black parent. The ones that do, from my experience, they state they're black.
This is what I'm going to say.
Okay, so from your experience, when you talk about relationships, how many mixed couples, black and white, stay together for that young person to grow up identifying as black? The black parent, which is a man, I might be generalizing a bit, but I think generally I sound right, was a man, and he generally goes off to where he's gone, so the person grows up with a white parent, getting white ideals and white values and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they don't pass themselves as black.
I understand what you're saying, and white values and white ideals does not make one genetically white. This is what I'm saying. The mentality.
Yeah, genetically, I'm not black because I've got some white in my family some hundreds of years ago, yeah? But I class myself as black.
Right.
Genetically, I'm not.
No, but so I'm saying to you, genetics is about dominance and recessive, not black and white.
But
There's no such thing as a white.
They don't look at genetics, they look at black and white.
No, there's no such thing as a white gene. This is
there's
what people
certain
need to understand.
There's certain characteristics within certain groups which are associated. So when you see blue eyes or fair skinned,
all right, let me what if I throw this out there, right? A Caucasian person, a white person, is the same phenotypic features as an Asian person, as in an Indian Asian person from India, void of the melanin, void of the hue. Once you remove the hue, you practically have the same phenotypic features. It's just only in certain. The reason why you get the remnants of those phenotypic differences is because of the intonation. I can go into that and explain, but phenotypically.
We understand that. So what you're saying basically, you've got because it's genetics says that the person could be classified as black, like a mixed race person, and the dominant gene is black, so they're black. But basically what you're saying is, we all come from Africa, so white people, you think they class themselves as African?
No, white people, we all don't come. I don't abide by that philosophy that we all come from Africa. That's not and never been something that I purport. That's something that Europeans purport.
Where do we come from then? Where do we come from?
We all have our own. That's a whole nother show. Come on, that's a whole nother show.
Just a quick show. Where do white people come from? They don't come from Africa as well?
No, no. The white people are from, you'd have to research India and the programs there and all that. But you're looking at the Indian ancestry. Trust me. That's what I purport, and that's what the records show. So, you know what I'm saying?
Which I understand that fully. I believe that, yeah. But basically, originally they came from Africa.
No, they don't. Originally, they do not come from Africa. They do not purport that, and they teach that in their schools, but in their genetics and their research and even the position of political laws and statutes, they don't promote that in their practices. They only teach that to the children to bamboozle them, because they always give them a lie. But when you look at the ancestral pathways, it takes Caucasian. They even tell you the name Caucasian, Caucasus Asian, deteriorating Asian, whatever people want to call it. They still link back to the Asian. Yeah, they don't say Caucasus African. Yeah, they do not ascribe to say they're from Africa in that sense. They never did in any way apart from what they teach the kids in school, because they try to put some warped philosophy in. But when you actually go into the genuine research of it, Caucasians take themselves back into India, Asia, and you see that in everything else apart from the teachings that they model.
Okay, look, I'm going to end it there anyway. But thanks for taking my call anyway.
No worries. Thank you for calling. I hope to hear from you again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that your thinking, or the way you viewed it, the way you're viewing it, is leading to the erasure of what a black person looks like. No, I'm not misunderstanding. I just feel like if you have someone.
No, go on.
Oh, if you have someone that is half of someone else and half of.
Call you live. Where you calling from? What's your name?
Yes, my name is Nas.
Hi, Nas. I can't even get to the text message you sent in. But
you must respond to my text message. But that's not the reason I'm reading. The reason I'm reading is the power of definition.
Exactly. Very much so. I agree.
Exactly. Who has the power of definition defines what a mixed race is. Regardless, if you explicitly explain when you said gene has got no color.
No race, exactly.
No race.
No color.
So who has the power of definition says they made a mistake. They knew from the onset that now it's come to bite them, you know where. Originally, they said the one drop rule, if you have a single one drop of black in you, you are black. Now they knew the shortcoming, now they realize the shortcoming. Even some there was a program I watched in I think it's a kind of university debate in America. They were debating now. Some people in North Africa are classified as white. They are now regarded as white people because of definition. They don't realize that some Africans are white, regarded as white.
But that's
and Naz, would you believe the producer who's so adamant against me? Well, she came to me and said, that Indians are classified as white in America, and
yeah, but you have to look at the people. It's not African black people that are being classified as white. That's an unfair statement. Don't go there. That's an unfair statement.
It's like when God created everything, He gave Adam. That's the biblical narrative. Now, it's not that I believe the Bible anyway. I'm just trying to draw a comparison now between what happened in the Bible and what we are currently debating. Of definition.
Right.
When God created all the animals, He says, "Okay, Adam, you name the animals. Well, no, this is goat, this is cow. That's power of definition, and it's very, very powerful." So he who has the power of definition can turn around tomorrow and say,
exactly.
Thank you very much.
Exactly. So we have to take ourselves from out of that philosophical thinking, because we know that genetically speaking, dominance overrides recessive.
Yes, that's correct.
And they know that too. And this is why everything that is done through what they call a filtration process.
Yes.
They promote mixing, but they don't allow it to a degree where it would eliminate them. They do it to a degree where it starts to impact on. They would not let in a certain amount of blacks or Africans into the country because they need to control the level of mixing that they take part in, because they understand that. They understand that.
If it goes, this mixing that they are encouraging here, if it goes unchecked, according to Dr. Francis Creswell said, in this law they are talking about now, if it translates itself into sexual intercourse, by their own definition, whites will be extinguished. They know that.
And by definition, I think that any mixed person that don't realize they're black, I would think that they have.
But they're not only black.
They need therapy.
They're not only black.
They are lost.
I think they need therapy.
Yeah.
That's what that talk is
my
really
text
rude.
message.
No.
It's
No,
really
it's
rude and it's really offensive.
It's not.
It is.
All right, your man knows. All right.
Just nice one.
No,
It's
it's
really
because
rude
there's no
and
such thing as black jeans
It's
and white
really
jeans.
rude and it's really offensive.
Anyway, I'll hand over to you.
Firstly, if it's a case where you're saying mixed people are black and that they can't, then they have to overstart and then understand the black experience, it just contradicts itself, because if they are black, then they can talk about their black experience. Why is it now that you're having to generalize or make them understand what other black people are feeling when they're living their black experience? You have to understand that mixed people experience a different sort of oppression than compared to full black people. So I don't understand why you're trying to lump everyone into the same category.
An experience of a wealthy African leader and his children is different in all totality to the experience of most black folks. This is why I've explained that we have to step away from this philosophy, which you yourself purported in the past. We have to step away from the philosophy of denoting experience to blackness, because the experience that they push to associate with blackness tends to be negative experiences that are linked to blackness. Experience of a mixed person is akin to what's that footballer name, Mario Balotelli, who grew up in a white household with white adopted parents from young, and his whole thinking was so skewed as a black man that some black people would say is dysfunctional. because his behavior was as if he was a white person.
Mm-hmm.
So the point is that it's not the complexion that allows someone to have that experience. Be it a lighter or darker complexion, it's just the experience that allows someone to have that experience. Yeah. So an experience does not denote or override genetics. A feeling or a definition of does not override genetics. A man saying that they feel like a woman does not override the genetic the gender factor. However, on the liberal side of the world, people will say, well, if he feels like a woman, he's a woman. That's the liberal side of the world. That makes no sense in my mind. I'm not going to discriminate against the person because they want to feel like a woman and they're a man. That's their business. You get what I'm saying? If they want to feel like a woman, then feel like a woman. But me talk to a real woman. You get me? I don't talk to a fake woman.
Okay.
But if they want to pretend like that and then somebody want to talk to them because they see them as a woman, then fine. It's not my business how they want to incorporate their liberty. So what I'm saying is what people feel and how they define themselves based on experience. It does not denote and override genetics.
So are you saying basically genetically based that because they have dominant genes, therefore they are...
I'm just saying...
No, but I need to understand. I'm confused at the minute. Are you saying that the dominant gene is black people, so therefore anyone that has the dominant gene is considered black? Is that what you're trying to say?
What I'm saying is, when you... Can I come back to it? Let me read on text message. I'll answer your question. Okay. Yeah? And read something. There's too much questions this week. You see the confusion we black people cause ourselves with this race mixing agenda. We like to accept them when it suits us, the same people, white people, but the reality is that it neither suits neither of us. We will spend centuries wasting time with this nonsense. We should be concentrating on how to raise our black children to love themselves and stop destroying one another. That's very true. We need to, stop in the sense of we need to raise our children to respect their complexion and love themselves, because a lot of people that race mix, some people race mix because of love and connection with someone. But there's a lot of people that do it because of self-hate. Not everyone, but a lot of people do it because of self-hate. And that has to be something that we have to highlight as well. Some people do it because of love, and that's fine. But some people do and have done it because of self-hate. You know what I mean? And if it's true to love and that connection you have with someone, that's all fine. But learn to love yourself as well for those who are doing it because of self-hate. I think it's better if we don't race mix. I mean, that's each to their own opinion. Mm-hmm. The question reads, is Bob Marley black? Now, for me, Bob Marley black. I don't know what anybody else say, but for me, and yet Bob Marley was mixed. And this is where I'm coming from. Bob Marley black. No more I hear people go call and say Bob Marley ain't black. Bob Marley said he was black.
He can identify as being black. He can identify as being black.
No,
but at the end of the day, he is mixed. He can identify as being black, but he is mixed. Is there any more questions?
Yeah.
I want you to ask my question.
There's more questions.
I'm fuming right now.
Well, I know.
Okay.
There's more questions.
Yeah.
Hold on. Text message. Sorry, I do not agree with you in regards to mixed people not being able to understand fully from a black person's point of view. First, it depends where you were brought up and what knowledge they have of black life. That is quite a square view of things. You can only see things from a black point of view due to you being fully black. The same applies to white people. Mixed people see things from a neutral point of view. You cannot say what we think. I'm sorry to say this, you seem to come across as quite racist yourself due to lack of knowledge of mixed race people. 480, like I said, I understand that, but I still hold the position that I hold. I'm not trying to say something's wrong with people or that something shouldn't be applauded to people. All I'm saying is, if there's going to be a narrative for us as a people to speak, then for us people, it has to be from an uncompromised situation. So it has to be someone that fully understands that specific struggle and that area that should be the voice of that struggle and that area. So in that point of view, it has to, I would say a black person is needed to be represented in certain specific aspects of things. In terms of society, For you to hold that then mixed race people are different from black folks, then there's a whole heap wrong with society when we start to break it down.
Why is
And it
that?
wouldn't be, there's a whole heap wrong with society
Why is
because
that?
Hollywood and TV presents a lot of mixed people as black. So it's not
But
me.
because they present them as that, they are that.
So it's not me that's presenting the racially divisive narrative. The racially divisive narrative is coming through the 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 way that things are presented within society. That mix is better. Mix gives you access. Mix is the way to go. So when you see an advert on TV, or you rarely see in the last how many years in this country? I think I've seen one advert on TV with a black family.
That chicken dip is out there.
You get me? One advert, or maybe two, that I see for full family. The other 100 million adverts is either a mixed family or something.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? And that, in its sense, what is that teaching? What, that black isn't good enough to present these things? Some people will say, well, it's marketability. No, but it goes beyond marketability. Call your live. What's the name where you're calling from?
Yes, brother. Come on, stop.
But there, rude boy. Go on. Bonafide, you got 5 minutes.
One quick thing we are adopting them. Have you seen that thing with Trevor Noah?
Yep.
There's a lot of way them people are around like black people who are still, what I call them mixed race people, and I sell them to black people and tell us they're black.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a problem with that. We say, yeah, they mix them up some black in them.
Mm-hmm.
If you look for Bob Marley and you look for that girl, the Camila Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Camila Harris have a father from Jamaica.
Mhm.
But if you look for the father, the system is not 100% Negro.
Right. And this is why I said earlier that some black people from Jamaica say they're not black.
Mhm.
That's right. And loads of them down there. But our father is a mixed race as well. And if you look for her phenotype, she don't have that dominant African features.
That's right.
Bob Marley have more dominant African features in him compared to Camila Harris.
Mhm.
So what we dealing with? We're dealing with genetics and phenotypic presentation, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
Carry
Because
on.
you have to remember, every time you have a hot mix or a new mix, that's the next new phenotype you create.
Right.
Mhm.
Break it down, brother.
We're not going to look on it. You have to remember, today, we're not going to say we're going to disown them or we hate them. But you have to look on the world today. People are selling us people into the black race. They must sell with other people. We don't want them to come dominate with no more.
No, we don't want them to dominate us. We recognize who they are, but we have to speak for ourselves. We have to speak for ourselves.
But
That's right. No one can speak for we but we.
But-
And no one now will come and tell we other differ from what we know. And this is the problem that Trevor Noah, him have dominant African features, even although a mix up, just look on him.
Mhm.
You can see the nose, you can see the features in him compared to Camila Harris.
Mhm.
Camila Harris, she don't dominate the black.
No.
Like her father was a mix and her mother Indian, but them are going to tell us she's black.
And she's
And she
not.
don't like black people either.
No, she doesn't. She's not.
But black
wow.
I'm going to tell you she's black. Like when we speak to a lot of Jamaican, and they must say, oh yeah, father come from Jamaica, yeah, we like her. No, that's out of the window.
So
We need thinking black people now.
question.
But they're on the road, just a little short thing I have to say.
All right.
What's today?
Yeah, man.
But I'll be there next week anyway, so
All right.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, man.
blessed.
All right.
I'm confused. I'm not gonna lie. I'm confused.
What are you confused
I'm
about?
confused. So what is Lord?
No, phenotypically, Kamala Harris is so far removed from the African experience that we cannot classify her as black because phenotypically she's very far removed from the African
Gosh.
experience. I'm sorry, but it is what it is.
But no,
You
but
want-
that's,
you
that's
want-
what I'm saying. I don't get it. I'm sorry. It's too
So
much confusion.
where should we classify the albino or Dundus, who is a black person who simply lacks melanin?
Let's-
Remember, there's a difference
Yeah.
between. Come on now, we can't use the word Dundus now. Get me? Come on. So the albino, right? A black albino has all the phenotypic features
Correct.
of a black person,
Mhm.
and the only difference is with them. Even the hair texture is curly. So the only difference with them
It's
is
lack of
that
melanin.
it's the lack of melanin.
Mhm.
Yeah. So they are who they are. You get what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That lack of melanin, but yet genetically they have all the phenotypic features. Jamaicans' motto is out of many, one people. We are one. Have we forgot that? Out of Jamaica, you said it right there. Jamaicans' motto, out of many. There's many different people in Jamaica. Kingston was known as the biggest melting pot in the Caribbean in the 80s, and probably still is. We're out of time this week, and I'd love to go through all the messages. We run out of time. There's a few more messages. So it's going to have to be a next week thing. Until next week, it's the doctor's surgery. Take care and give care.